Hello, my name is Chris and today I'm going to review the 2020 Acura TLX. This is a car I have been dying to drive to see how this refreshed TLX performs. Acura sent me this all-equipped version and in Canada this costs about $48,000 plus destination and all those crazy taxes. This is a totally reasonable price as far as I'm concerned. Nothing says semi-premium like Acura sedans. The super handling all-wheel drive is suited for Quebec winters and, as is the case with most all-wheel drives, poorly suited for our super high gas prices. This car drank about 2 liters more per 100 kilometers than the 4-cylinder front-wheel drive. I like TLX's proportions. Take a look. Significant chassis work was done to the TLX for the refresh. In terms of the weight of the steering and also the weight of the car, you can feel you are driving a tank. It is very reassuring. That reassuring feel is enhanced by the perfectly tuned suspension, combined with an excellent Nvh packaging. In these aspects alone, it rivals the 5 Series, which is amazing when you consider the price and reliability of Acura. The rest of TLX is in line with its price. A full safety suite and an exterior refresh, which is worth about $45,000 to $50,000. The competition is relentless. Hood bumps are a nice visual cue from the driver's seat. The front end is a success and the proportions are wonderful. A GT sports sedan look. I have no complaints on the exterior. It will age well. The interior is showing its age and feels like maximum $45,000. The door illustrates this well. The trim is high level and the door handle looks like it comes from an HRV. The materials are high level. The design is dated. CarPlay, auto, premium sound are great. The infotainment ergonomics are ridiculous. The seats are very good. The Alcantara inserts are nice but are difficult to detail. They are cooled and heated as well. A winter storm allowed me to appreciate the super handling all-wheel drive. There were 1,250 cars involved somehow in accidents across the province, and this TLX was not one of them. The Acura automatic high beam needs some work, and the collision warning is paranoid. The start-stop is supremely annoying. Acura has price-appropriate interior lighting touches, and the steering wheel was well bolstered with a good enough leather. The volume knob was loose, and at this price, everything should be tight. Although very good, the interior design is TLX's less impressive aspect. Despite the upgrades, this still feels like it needs another update. The V6 and the 9-speed automatic transmission are reassuring, though I felt the programming of the transmission was a bit conservative. Perhaps it was poorly selected gears. Nonetheless, the torque of the engine hid this well. It is not a deal breaker. The start-stop was intensely annoying. I hated it. Premium fuel is required, SI, and TLX does 12 liters in the city and 8.2 liters on the highway, or 20-29 mpg. Here are my thoughts on the road. Hello car lovers driving the 2020 Acura TLX. This is the all-equipped super handling all-wheel drive with the V6. What to say about this vehicle? Well, a few notes. Number one, Acura lent me this car for the week, though of course that in no way affects the objectivity of my review. Number two, I own an Acura TLX 2017, so we could call it perhaps biased, but I don't think it's biased. I made a choice. What I represent, I think, the mid-size sedan buyer. So let's get on with this review. Let's start with the exterior styling. Acura redid recently. Its exterior styling. The new front grille I think is really nice, and also undersaid by other reviewers is the hood. It's got nice bumps on it, sporty bumps on the corners, and it gives you a sentiment that the car is very sporty. I like that. Offered in nice colors too, a nice blue, a nice red. Beyond the run-of-the-mill whites, dark grays, blacks, it's nice to have a nice refined color that looks good but isn't too flashy either. The 19-inch wheels with the low-profile tires, you could think that probably this would lead to high replacement bills. It will. However, what it doesn't lead to is road noise. I'll get to that later. Or nor does it compromise ride quality. I'll get to that later too. Other global notes about the exterior styling, I think this has really classic proportions. The Acura has always well done the exterior styling of their TSXs before, and it has been brought forward in the TLX model, I think. In fact, when I looked at this car, it kind of reminded me a little bit of a cross between the old TL and the old TSX, which I find from a proportion point of view is very good. Kind of big, this car too. It has like this nice big beefy look that I like. The rear spoiler is beautiful also. So from an exterior styling for a near $50,000 car, I think you're getting your money's worth. On the inside now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the drive experience, how this car feels, and where it measures up to cars which quite frankly cost a bit more. I'm going to talk about the tank-like feel of the drive quality and also the noise, vibration, harshness. Let's start with the drive quality. The steering wheel, right now, the driver interface is a much more meaty steering wheel, seems to me, compared at least to my car. Nice grips at 10 and 2, but also nice grips at 9 and 3. So this is kind of like it's not perfectly round, this steering wheel. There are flat parts on the side, and that's really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that. It's a nice grip. Also, I think the way the steering is weighted has been increased a bit. It's by no means uncomfortable, but it does contribute to that meaty feel. Also, I think this car, since it's all-wheel drive, it's got the V6 automatic transmission. It's a pretty heavy car, and it feels tank-like, and you feel that size on the road. Normally, weight is the enemy of most cars. However, I think with this type of mid-sized sedan, you want that kind of tank-like feel, and Acura TLX delivers. Quite surprisingly, I think this aspect is on the level of more premium models that are more expensive. The noise, vibration, harshness, or NVH as we say. What does that mean? Rattles, noise on the highway when you're driving, general unrefinement when you're like hitting bumps, let's say, like a racket that can be generated. You don't get any of that here. I'm driving on Montreal's shitty roads. I'm hitting big bumps. Surprisingly, these low profile tires and suspension are taking it very well. Great ride, smooth, though not molasses at all, and extremely quiet on the highway. Earlier this week, I had people in the back seat. We were having a conversation. We weren't screaming to each other. High level. In fact, these last points that I've mentioned, I would think are on the level of the BMW 5 Series that I drove, all right, in terms of the noise, vibration, harshness, and in terms of the tank-like feel of the drive. So that's pretty awesome, because that is a significantly more expensive car. Where is it perhaps a little bit weak, at least in this V6 version? I think the interior design is weak a little bit. This center stack here is a mess. I'm here on radio mode, and I'm going to count, I counted before, almost 40 different either hard or soft buttons total. And that it doesn't include this steering wheel, which has, oh my God, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Like almost 14 buttons or roulettes, little roulettes here. So it's just, it needs to be simplified. I know there's a tendency for car makers to put as much tech as possible, but you have to make it user-friendly, because if it's not user-friendly, except for the software development geeks, no one's going to use them, and you're just paying, you feel you're paying for nothing. So that note on the interior. The seats are incredible. It's got an Alcantara center, which I prefer leather because it's easier to clean, but whatever, the Alcantara feels good enough. Alcantara, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is like a mouse skin texture. I'm going to make a few remarks now about the engine transmission. I would say in the category they are average in terms of their use. The engine is strong enough, though for a V6 I'd like perhaps a better growl. Also the transmission, good enough, though sometimes I feel I'm not willing to complain that it's in too low a gear, but I just feel that if it wasn't for this engine's torque, it would be in way too low a gear. So sometimes you can feel like a weird, not a weird, but like it's pulling. It's pulling from, let's say, 1,000 to 1,800 RPM sometimes when accelerating smoothly. Also, another thing that has to be considered when you're buying this vehicle is Acura, or Hondas if you prefer, the reliability. I know that most people of premium vehicles lease and then return to the dealer, and that is certainly something I recommend you do with this vehicle. However, you do have the option to own. Most Acuras will last for at least 8, 9, 10 years without getting major problems. I know many people who have older Acuras who love them and who haven't had many problems with them at all. It can make for a very good ownership experience, and that is kind of rare in the premium segment. I wouldn't classify Acura as a premium brand precisely. I would perhaps classify more as a semi-premium brand, but it does have some premium qualities. And one of the things that it does not have is poor reliability like the premium competitors. It has excellent reliability when you consider the class. Only Lexus does better. Final note on the all-wheel drive system. I really like this all-wheel drive system. It runs well. There's a bit of a snowstorm today in Montreal, and I've driven it in cold weather and icy weather, and the all-wheel drive system does a great job, and it lets you see how it's working, which is kind of nice. During accelerations, which is really why you want an all-wheel drive system in the snow, the car stays straight, very easy to drive, doesn't require a lot of effort like perhaps some front-wheel drives do sometimes in very bad conditions. So those are my thoughts on the Acura TLX 2020. I think it's highly recommendable on the lease, highly recommendable on the purchase, and I think perhaps the 4-cylinder, which goes for $41,000, $42,000, $43,000 depending on which model you take, has almost like pretty much the same look as this vehicle, and that's a substantial bargain. It's still a bargain, the TLX, since it came out in fact in 2015. So those are my thoughts. If you like this video, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. If you really like it, you should subscribe, obviously. And if you really find my videos awesome, if you find they're easy to listen to, if you like the 4K footage, you can click the notifications icon and you will be notified every time I come out with a video. It's not something I use because I find those things annoying, but you may like them. And that is it.